Hi there! Thanks for joining us for our chapter book story time here at the Caribou Public Library in Caribou, Maine. I'm Miss Erin and we are reading Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson. This is an abridged version and we are through chapter 6, so on to chapter 7 today. In chapter 6, the Dr. Livesey met Long John Silver, and now he and Jim are going to be taking a look at the ship. So, chapter 7 is titled We Set Sail, and here's a picture of the back of the ship with its name, the Hispaniola. All right. The Hispaniola lay some way out. As we stepped aboard, we were met and saluted by the first mate, Mr. Arrow. He was a brown old sailor with earrings in his ears and a squint. He and Squire Trelawney were very friendly, but the squire did not like our ship's captain, Captain Smollett. Our captain was a sharp-looking man who seemed angry with everything on board. In a private meeting with the squire, the doctor, and me, the captain let us know his views. "I don't like this cruise, I don't like the men, and I don't like my officer, Mr. Arrow." "There it is," said the captain. He went on to say that he should have selected his own men, and he did not like the rumors that he was hearing from the sailors, that this was a voyage in search of treasure, with a pirate's map to follow. "I never told that to a soul," cried the squire. "The men know it, sir," said the captain. "I don't know who has this map, but I want it kept secret, from me and from the crew, and from the first mate, Mr. Arrow." "You don't like Mr. Arrow?" asked the doctor. "He's too friendly with the crew, and he stumbles about. I fear he drinks, sir. I'm responsible for this ship's safety and the life of every man aboard her. I will speak up when I fear trouble, for 'tis my duty, sir. Treasure cruises are never safe, sir." And with that, he took his leave. Here they are talking, all the men. "Trelawney," said the doctor, "I believe you have two honest men on board with you, that captain and John Silver." "Silver, if you like," cried the squire, "but not that captain. He does not set well by me." "Well," said the doctor, "we shall see, we shall see." All that night we hustled about, loading and getting the ship ready to sail. I was dog-tired. A little before dawn, the sailor surrounded his pipe with the crew, and the crew began to man the capstan bars, which means they started to bring up the anchor. The capstan bars. "Now, Barbecue, give us a tune," cried the one voice. "The old tune," cried another. "Aye, aye, mates," said Long John, who was standing by. He had his crutch under his arm. At once he sang out the tune and words that I knew so well. 15 men on the dead man's chest, and then the whole crew joined in. Yo, ho, and a bottle of rum. At the last ho, they all pushed on the capstan bars, hauling the anchor up a little more each time. Soon the anchor was up, and the sails began to fill. The Hispaniola had begun her voyage to the Isle of Treasure. Here they are pushing and raising the anchor. The ship proved to be a good ship. The crew were able seamen, and the captain understood his business. But before we got to Treasure Island, 2 or 3 things happened, which I must record and make known. Mr. Arrow, first of all, turned out even worse than the captain had feared. No one listened to his orders. He was clumsy and sloppy, and it was thought that he must be drunk. Nobody was surprised when one dark night he disappeared, and was seen no more. "Overboard," said the captain, shaking his head. Job Anderson was named new first mate. He watched our course and helped the captain. And the coxswain, the man who steered the ship, was Israel Hands. He was a wily old, experienced sailor who could be trusted with almost anything. But my favorite of them all was Long John Silver. He was a good sea cook, and the men called him Barbecue. He carried his crutch by a rope round his neck. This way, both hands were free for cooking. He kept his cook's galley as clean as a new pin, and the dishes were always hanging up. In one corner was his parrot in a cage. Here's the man who was the coxswain, the man who steered the ship. We have a picture. "He's no common man, that Barbecue," said the coxswain to me. "He's as brave as a lion. I've seen him grapple 4 men and knock their heads together." All the crew respected and even obeyed Long John Silver. He had a way of helping each man in some special way. Long John Silver was always kind to me and always glad to see me in the cook's galley. "Come away, Hawkins," he would say. "Come and have a yarn with John. You're young, you are, but you're as smart as a paint. I see that when I set my eyes on you. I can talk to you like a man, my son. Sit you down and hear some news." "Oh, hear the news. Here's Captain Flint. I calls my parrot Captain Flint. After the famous buccaneer, Captain Flint was just saying our voyage will be a success, weren't you, Captain?" And then the parrot would say very quickly, "Pieces of 8, pieces of 8, pieces of 8. "Now that bird," he would say, "is maybe 200 years old, Hawkins. They live forever, mostly. She's sailed with pirates, she has. She's been to Madagascar and Malabar and Portobello. That's how she learned pieces of 8. You seen a mite of gold in your time, ain't you, Captain?" "Stand by to go about," the parrot would scream. "Stand by to go about." The squire and Captain Smollett did not speak to each other much. The squire despised the captain, and the captain admitted that he liked the ship once it had set sail. Still, he muttered, "But I don't like the cruise." Here's a picture of Jim with Long John Silver and his parrot. Now, Chapter 8. What I Heard in the Apple Barrel. He is climbing into an apple barrel. Every man on board seemed well content. Never was a ship's company so spoiled. Double grog was often served, and there was plum pudding every few days. Plus, we always had a huge barrel of apples on deck for anyone to help himself. "Spoil the hands and you make devils. That's my belief," the captain said to Dr. Livesey. "Never knew good come of it yet." But good did come of the apple barrel, as you shall hear. For if it had not been for that, we might all have perished. This is what came about. It was about the last day of our voyage. We were expecting to see Treasure Island late that night or early next day. The Hispaniola rolled steadily. Everyone was in the bravest spirits because we were now so near an end of the first part of our adventure. Now, just after sundown, when all my work was over, I decided to have an apple. The huge apple barrel was nearly empty, so I just crawled over and into the barrel. I sat right down inside to enjoy the apple. I was so tired that the sound of the waters and the rocking movement of the ship put me nearly to sleep. I was jolted awake when a heavy man sat down close by. The barrel shook as he leaned his shoulders against it. I was just about to jump up when the man began to speak. It was Silver's voice. Before I had heard a dozen words, I would not have shown myself for all the world. Instead, I lay there, trembling and listening. Just from Silver's first few words, I realized that all the honest men on board were in danger. What I heard that night in the apple barrel chilled me to the bone. Long John Silver was telling one of the young sailors, Dick, about his pirating days. His pirating days. Oh my goodness. There he is. And there's Jim in the barrel. Flint was captain, he said. I was on the same plunder that old Pew lost his eyes, and I lost this leg. But we got a lot of gold, we did. "Ah," cried the young sailor, "I hear he was the best, was Flint." Long John Silver went on to brag about his adventures. He said that most of Flint's old men were here, on the Hispaniola. He was trying to get poor Dick to join the pirates. "You look here," Silver said. "You're young, you are, but you're as smart as paint. I seen that when I set my eyes on you. I'll talk to you like a man." You may imagine how I felt. These were the same words the villain had said to me. "You'd make a fine gentleman of fortune," Dick Silver went on. They lives rough, and they risk hanging from the gallows, but they get gold, they do, pounds and pounds of it. You may be sure of getting rich on old John's ship." "Well," replied Dick, "I didn't like that idea till I had this talk with you, John, but here's my hand." "And a brave lad you are," answered Silver. They shook hands so heartily that the barrel shook. And a finer gentleman of fortune I never clapped my eyes on. By this time I understood that a gentleman of fortune was just a common pirate. Silver had Dick on his side now. Silver gave a little whistle, and a third man strolled up and sat down. "Dick is with us," said Silver. "Oh, I know Dick was smart," returned a voice. It was Israel Hands. "He's no fool. When are we going to do him, Barbecue?" "Here's the plan, men," said Silver. "They've got the map, so we'll let this squire and doctor find the stuff and get it aboard. Then we'll finish with 'em at the island." "But," said Dick, "shouldn't we just leave 'em on the island?" "Put 'em ashore and maroon 'em," said the sea cook rascal. "Or cut 'em down." "Dead man don't bite," said his real hands. "Right you are," said Silver. "I give my vote death. Wait is what I say. But when the time comes, why, let her rip. But I claim Trelawney. He's mine." Then he added in a cheery voice, "Dick, jump up like a sweet lad and get me an apple." I imagine my terror. I heard Dick begin to rise, and then, almost at the same time, the voice of the lookout shouted, "Land ho!" He was safe. There was a great rush of feet across the deck. I slipped out of that apple barrel and dived behind the foresail. No one had noticed. I ran for the open deck to look for the squire and the doctor. Oh my goodness. Here we have a picture of the ship, and they can see the island. Everyone was staring out to sea. We saw an island with 2 low hills and a third and higher hill. The highest peak was buried in the fog. I heard Captain Smollett giving orders. It all seemed like a foggy dream, for I was still in terror from what I had just overheard. "And now, men," said the captain, "has any one of you ever seen that land ahead?" "I have, sir," said Silver, "when I was a cook for a trader ship. That hill to the north they calls the foremast hill. The far south hill is mizzenmast hill. The highest in the middle they call Spyglass Hill. There's a harbor just round it with a small island. Skeleton Island, they calls it, in the harbor cove." "Thank you, my man," said Captain Smollett. "I'll ask you later on to give us a help. You may go." I was surprised at how coolly John had told of the island. A shudder went through when he laid his hand upon my arm. "Ah," says he, "this here is a sweet spot, this island. A sweet spot for a lad to get ashore on. You'll bathe, you'll climb trees, you'll hunt goats, you will. Why, it makes you me young again. When you want to do a bit of exploring, you just ask old John, and he'll give you snacks to take along." I found Captain Smollett, the squire, and Dr. Livesey talking together on the quarter-deck. I whispered to the doctor, "Bring the captain and the squire down to the cabin. I have terrible news." In the cabin, the squire said, "Now, Hawkins, you have something to say? Speak up." I told the whole details of Silver's plans. Nobody interrupted me, and they kept their eyes upon my face from first to last. "Well, gentlemen," said the captain, "we can't turn back. We must keep a bright outlook. The map shows a stockade with a blockhouse near the harbor. We'll hole up there and do our planning. We have the 4 of us, plus Trelawney's home servants, Redruth, Hunter, and Joyce. That makes 7 against their 19, and there may be more than that come to our side. Jim here," said the doctor, "can help us more than anyone. The men are friendly with him. Jim is a noticing lad." "Hawkins, I put great faith in you," added Squire Trelawney. "Only 7 against 19? And one of these 7 was me, a boy." Oh my goodness. Here's the men being surprised when he was telling his story. Yikes. Woo. So in the next chapter, they go ashore. But that will be tomorrow night. Have a great night, everyone. Bye.